We're woo-sawing, fam. We're woo-sawing. All right, welcome on in, everybody. It is the WooWoo Hour Vodcast. I am your host, Crystal Storm, and I am joined tonight by two amazing guests. This is my tribe, y'all. These my peoples. My peoples is right here. We're going to do like podcasts together. We're going to figure out how to get Lindsay started with like her own YouTube channel and shit. We got all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves here in just a minute. Do I have any quick announcements? Quick announcements while I have everybody's attention. Next week, we're doing book reviews, probably on Thursday. For all my Twitch family, after this interview, we're playing Outer Worlds. I can't fucking wait. I'm so hyped. I will be doing another WooWoo Hour podcast with Delvin on November 7th. He and I and another guest are going to have a serious conversation about like racism and white people and apologies and all kinds of shit. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy as fuck. So that's November 7th. After that, I'm probably going to talk about UFOs because that's how we roll on the WooWoo Hour podcast. Vodcast, whatever the fuck this is. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. Delvin, the busiest man in podcasting right now. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I am the host of the Delvin Cox Experience. I am also the co-host of the Skyward with Joey Craig. I'm also the co-host of the PlayStation Experience podcast now. I'm also the co-host of Games We Don't Play. I'm also on a lot of other podcasts that I can't even mention anymore because every time I look, somebody's having me on their podcast. But I'm happy to be on this podcast because I love Crystal. She's awesome.
I love your face, Delvin. And then I am joined by Linzi Gray. Lindsay, please introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are. Lindsay famous, y'all. We talking to famous people on here.
Yeah, hardly not famous yet. But I'm Linzi Gray. I am an actress and a podcaster. I have a podcast called Blood and Black Lace with my co-host, Amanda Marie. You should check us out. We come out on Fridays, except tonight we're not having an episode come out this week. So, yeah.
Lindsay, tell everybody where they can see, like, you've been in like some movies, you've been in like some TV shows. Talk to us a little bit about that. Go ahead.
I have been on a lot of sets, The Jackal, Cherry Falls. I mean, we're taking it back in the 90s right now.
Right.
Recently, I did Wonder Woman 1984.
Pause right there. How was that?
It was amazing.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'd have been like, can I just get everybody water? Can I just be the person? Can I just be like, that's called a PA, right? Can I just be the PA to get everybody water? Can I just do that?
Yes, the PAs have the water job.
I know. Can I get Wonder Woman to just step on me? Will you please just come step on me, please? Just step on me. That's all right. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm just stoked about Wonder Woman 1984. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait either. And I was in it.
Yeah.
But yes. So Wonder Woman 1984. I was in Creed 2.
Nice.
Let's see. I just came off of the Walking Dead spinoff that is coming out next year on AMC.
What? Were you a zombie or a survivor? Can we ask? Can you tell us? Are you allowed to talk about it? Can you not talk about it?
Technically, I can't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't want to get you in trouble. We'll wait. That's cool. Okay.
But yes, I was on The Walking Dead, the spinoff, which is going to be really cool because it's 10 years in the future, and it focuses more on like the kids that were born into the apocalypse. So the apocalypse is really all they know.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's kind of a cool, different spin. I also did The Good Lord Bird, which stars Ethan Hawke, which comes out next year too on Showtime. So, yeah, I've been a busy girl this year.
Yeah. So let me ask you real quick: do you completely like geek out on set? Do you get like star eyes when you get to do you get to see some of these like super famous people? Do you get to interact with them? Do you handle it like a professional, or do you just like scream? Because I'd probably just scream.
I have gotten like on my first few, I did kind of fangirl out a bit. But as you work with them, you realize that they're just human. I worked pretty close with Ethan Hawke on The Good Lord Bird. Both days that I was on set, he was there, and super nice guy. He was joking around, having a blast. I mean, that's really what sets are all about. Is obviously you're there to do a job, but you have fun too, and these people become your family. So you're always joking with each other, and you're always just having fun. And it's a blast. It really is a blast being on set.
That
it's
is kick-ass.
Addicting.
Yeah.
It's my drug.
Yeah. That's cool. That's super cool. Delvin, why are you on so many podcasts?
Because people keep constantly asking me to come on their podcast. I think it's one of those things, and that I've been so consistent for so long. I've become kind of like this statesman for podcasts, and people just gravitate towards me. And it's always like, hey, Delvin, either they're messaging me for advice on how to do things on a podcast, or they're calling me to be on their podcast. And it's almost a constant thing now. It's literally my podcast. I'd probably do my podcast once, maybe twice a week. Right. But a lot of my time is taken up by doing other people's podcasts, because they want me to be on their podcast constantly now. Which I'm fine with.
I was like, I'm good with it. All right. So what's your favorite podcast that you've been on so far?
That's hard to say.
He can't say mine because he hasn't been a guest on it yet. So
that's fair. That's fair.
So he better say yours.
That we can ask him again in the future. We can revisit. So at the end of our conversation tonight, I will ask him this question again, expecting the right answer.
This podcast. Yeah. This podcast.
Yeah. No, but seriously, the ones you've been on so far, what are you having the most fun on?
I don't know. It's been a few of them. I've been on one where it's the podcast called "Shit Happens When You Party Naked." It's literally the name of the podcast. It's run by my guy Jason Almy. He's a good friend. He's a good dude. We had a great conversation about comedy and the Chappelle Show special.
Okay.
And the political correctness of it and stuff like that.
All right.
That was really interesting to talk to him about that. Then I was on another podcast called the Po Boys Podcast. That was recently. And the conversation went someplace I didn't expect it to go.
Okay.
And his podcast is sometimes serious, but it's sometimes not. It's kind of like, fun.
Right.
But we talked about things like reparations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We got like really deep, and then we got really I got really personal on the podcast, and it's probably the most emotional I ever got on a podcast.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I won't make you cry this week, Devin. Maybe next week we'll cry together when we're having the conversation. So it's not next week. It's the week after. Whatever. I know what I'm going to be on a podcast. It's fine. All right, y'all. We're going to have some fun tonight. Loose conversation here. Let's just talk in general. Let's start with what it takes to be a creative in these different industries, because you guys are coming from two very different industries, but you're both podcasters as well. So let's start there. What do you think is like the most important thing that you have to be in this game of content creation? And either one of y'all can jump on that first.
I'll let you go.
Charisma.
Ooh, why do you say that, Lindsay?
Because with both, you have to network with both sides, podcasting and being an actor, being on set. You really have to interact. So you have to be charismatic. You have to be, fun to be around. You have to be open. You have to be friendly. You have to be all these things, and you have to be them like immediately. Like it's kind of like a switch that you turn on, and and then as soon as you get out of your wardrobe, you turn it off. So I constantly find myself when I'm getting ready to record my podcast, like I'll sit there for a moment, and as soon as I start recording, I flip on. I'm a completely different person. And then as soon as I'm done, I flip it back off. And it's really weird because I'm shy in real life, but as soon as I get on my podcast or, in front of the camera, I'm like, hi, it's me. It's like split personality. It's crazy.
No, I understand that because I always get extremely nervous before I do something, like especially getting on like the podcast or to the point where it's almost like you're mentally talking yourself out of it, like nervous. I'd be like, I could just say that my internet went out or I'm sick or whatever real quick, so I don't even have to do this, and I can just go watch The Flash on Netflix because I'm kind of hungry too. So. And then you get on and you do it. You bring the energy, and so I get that. That's cool. Yeah. Delvin, go.
You got to be driven. You got to be determined. You got to know that you have to. When you start a podcast, if you want to be successful at it, you have to keep doing it. Consistency is the key. You have to keep going. You have to keep driving. You have to keep putting out product. You have to keep improving on your abilities. And I think that's a very important thing that a lot of people don't focus on in terms of how A lot of people want to be successful. A lot of people want to be the next Joe Rogan or things like that in podcasting, but they don't realize that you have to put in drive, especially if you don't have that Joe Rogan type name. Like, a lot of people who are podcasting today aren't known from other things that they've done in terms of like TV shows or movies or whatnot. So you kind of have to build a name for yourself. And one of the most important ways you build your name for yourself is by being there, by being consistent. And if you're consistent with your podcast, eventually you're going to build an audience, whether it's a small or big audience. You're going to build an audience, and that audience is going to help you build a bigger audience. I think that's very important, to be consistent and just put out stuff, and all the things that Lindsay said too as well. It's also very important.
And it's the same way with acting. Like, you always have to be driven. You constantly have to put yourself out there. You have to be active on social media. You have to be active, in the acting community. You have to constantly, network with people on set. You want to make sure that you make friends with the casting directors, but you also want to make friends with the director and the producers and the PAs. I mean, even though the PAs, they have the hardest job on set.
Always, yeah.
Literally. They are trying to herd cats.
Yeah.
Actually. They're trying to herd cats, especially when you get like the background PAs, because you have you sometimes have like 300 background actors, and you are trying to corral all these people to do what the director wants them to do. And it can be very frustrating. And I respect them, and I respect what they do. And it is so interesting to watch everybody when you're standing on your mark on set and you're watching what everybody else is doing. It's just fascinating.
Right.
But yeah, you have to be driven. You have to constantly have yourself out there. You have to constantly, put yourself out there, especially with acting, because, IMDb pages, you always want your star rating to go up. And the only way star rating goes up is if people Google you or they go and visit your IMDb page.
Oh my gosh.
Your star rating, I mean, you can go from 88,000 to like 124,000 overnight. And 120, and the higher your star rating is, the worse it is, the less you're gonna get. So the lower it is, the better chances you have.
We got you.
Yeah.
It's that grind life, y'all. It's that grind life. Doesn't matter what it is. Get on that grind life. Okay, so the podcast market, and I know that being an actress, these are all almost saturated, right? It's something that everybody wants to do, especially now, right? And I think it's good to have that goal. Like, you want to be Joe Rogan, you want to be the next, whatever, you want to be in a Martin Scorsese movie, or maybe not, because he'd be talking smack about Marvel, so forget him. But like, whatever. Yeah. He can try, whatever. You know what? You're Martin Scorsese, you can say what you want, but whatever. So how do you stand out as a podcast, as an actress? Let's start with you this time, Delvin. How is it that you stand out? Because we're doing our grind, we're doing our hustle, but there are there's probably a ridiculous number of podcasts that go up every freaking day. People don't have time. Why are they listening to you?
I think a lot of people listen to my podcast because it's diverse, because I'm the type of person. My podcast is a perfect reflection of myself in terms of how I've always been the type of person who can talk to anybody and have a conversation with anybody, no matter what their race, religion, creed is. I've always been the one who would gladly have a conversation on why they think the way they think or why they feel the way they feel. And I think my podcast reflects just that. I can have a conversation with a Trump supporter and not get in an argument with them and have a civil conversation, help people understand where they're coming from. Or on the same side, I can have a conversation with somebody who has completely different views. And I think it's important. My podcast is different because I don't, like I say, a lot of times when I do my podcast, I don't pick sides necessarily. So I talk because each episode of my podcast is that person's story.
Right.
It's not even though the show is called the Delvin Cox Experience, it's about what I'm experiencing. It's about the people I talk to and their stories. Like when Crystal came on, it was all about Crystal. When Lindsay came on, it was all about Lindsay. I am kind of just the facilitator of that.
That's
and
what's
up. I think that's a cool and different aspect and way to look at things in terms of how I feel like my show will get you to listen and find out about other people.
I like that. I like that.
Get you to understand other people. Like, for example, if you don't know Linzi Gray and you hear on my podcast, you're like, oh crap, she's a nice, awesome person. Let me check out some of these movies she's in.
Can confirm Lindsay's awesome.
Her movie. Yeah, definitely. And then you hear about Crystal, and then people are like, oh, she's cool. Let me start to check out some of her books and things like that. That's what I think my podcast does the best. It gives people the opportunity to look at people and give them a second chance.
Now, let me ask you a follow-up question real quick before we go over to Lindsay, and that would be, how did you decide that that was going to be the content that your podcast was about? Was it something that kind of grew organically? Did you just start off like anybody else? Like, I want to do a podcast. I'm going to talk about some shit. Or did you come in with this idea?
It kind of came up organically, and it really came into fruition when my friend, who always messed with me, my boy Chalfie, he just came up with a tagline. He's like, man, your podcast like you're on a one-man mission to unite the culture through diversity. I'm like, you know what? You're kind of right. He was like, and he literally said that, like, each episode, you kind of have a unique, different people on there. It's all about diversity. Like, that's what your podcast is. And when he said that to me, it kind of clicked. And I said, you know what? He's right. This is how I should do the podcast. This is what makes the podcast unique from all the millions and millions of podcasts out there. It's because it's all about diversity and learning about people.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Lindsay, over to you now. What do you have to do to stand out? How do you do that as an actress? How do you do that as the co-host of the very awesome Blood and Black Lace podcast?
Well, as an actress, like I said, podcasting and acting kind of, they're almost the same without being the same, because you kind of have to be on when you are recording or when you're, in front of a camera. So you have to be on. And in order to stand out as an actress, I fully believe is that, you kind of just pop up everywhere like a pimple. I know that's the best way to put it. I mean, if you're everywhere and everybody's like, this girl is like on Twitter, she's all over my Twitter feed. She's all over my Instagram feed. Now she's in my ear. She's in my head. Like, who is this girl? And then you Google me and you find out who I am. Oh, she's an actress. Well, I got an indie film coming up, so let me see what she's about, kind of thing. I just feel like, just trying to pop up everywhere, where people don't, expect me to be. And I think that really works. And it may not work for everybody. It works for me because I try to be very, active on social media, Twitter. I don't really use Facebook because
it's Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of casting calls on Facebook. So that's the only reason I really have Facebook. But I usually use Twitter the most. And then it's Instagram. I'm kind of old school. So I haven't really got into like, what are the other social medias?
TikTok and WhatsApp and some other shit. I don't fucking know. There's always a new social media thing.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't even know what a TikTok is.
And I'm old school too. I'm just like, oh God, just stop. I've just now got started with my Twitter. I'm kind of doing Instagram. No more.
Yeah. Right. So I just feel like, like I said, being a pimple and popping up. I mean, when you have a pimple, you notice it.
That is true.
So I feel like that is like kind of like my end game.
Okay. Lindsay's advice to, I like that. Lindsay's advice to being unique is be a pimple. I like that.
Anywhere and everywhere.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your podcast because I think it's awesome. Tell everybody what is up with the Blood and Black Late podcast. Like, what do y'all talk about over there? We talking about like blood and like sex? What are we talking about?
We actually talk about it's real scary stories. Like we visit a state. Like there's a lot of like real scary story podcasts out there. But what I've noticed with other podcasts is that they'll try to cram like 3 stories into one. And I don't feel like you get really like the whole story when you do that. So like our next episode that comes out next week is going to be about the Stanley Hotel. Everybody knows about the Stanley Hotel. If you don't, I'm sorry for you. But, Stephen King made it famous with The Shining and everything. And it's a little, so we talk about like ghost stuff and everything. And then, like our last episode, we talked about the Axe Murder House in Iowa.
Oh my gosh.
And when the guy was done, killing the family, he put sheets over the head. Well, Amanda wanted to know why. That's a legit question. I only know the answer because I'm like obsessed with the ID channel. And like obsessed, like make me mad, I can make it look like an accident kind of thing. So usually serial killers do that because they're remorseful for what they've done, so they don't want to see their victims looking back at them. So that's kind of what we talk about over at Blood and Black Lace, is just real scary stories. We've had, one guest on there so far. We're going to bring more guests on board. We're going to start having guests bring maybe their own scary story with them to talk about what's happened to them paranormal. Because I fully believe everybody has had at least one paranormal thing happen to them, and they've either embraced it and they're like, "Ooh, whatever," or they're like, "Nah, that wasn't what it was."
Okay.
So we're gonna have people bring their own scary stories to us. Well, this is what happened to me when I was 6 years old. So that's kind of what we do with Blood and Black Lace.
Nice. Now, let me take one. Lindsay, remind me at the end of the podcast to shoot you a name for a guest, because I got somebody who's actually pretty perfect for y'all, who's got ghost stories. How did you get started with that? Because so you're an actress. You come from a family of actors and actresses, which we were talking about while nobody was listening. And then, so how did you get into this scary story podcast?
My mom, actually.
That's awesome.
I can remember growing up watching Unsolved Mysteries with her. And I don't care who you are.
True.
Robert Stack scared the shit out of me.
Ultra Magnus.
Okay. A creepy dude. Especially when he's, in a dark park. Man, you want to get out of there. You're going to be mugged or something. But, it's that really got me kind of turned on to the whole thing. And then, a couple years ago when Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi Channel was really big, I started watching that, and I was like, I got to thinking to myself, why are there no female ghost hunters? There are, but they're usually, on
the back burner.
There's mostly males.
Right.
Why is there not an all-female ghost hunter team? Girls are badass.
Word up.
Maybe the guys are scared. Maybe the guys are like, no, I'm not going in there because it's haunted.
Yeah, I'm right.
I'm with you, Delvin. Delvin, I'm with you right now. My girlfriend is sitting here thinking, oh my God, I could go ghost hunting with Lindsay. No, babe, you can't go ghost hunting with Lindsay. No. By the way, y'all, Almighty Ray is here.
Yes, you can. Don't let her tell you what to do.
Damn it, y'all gonna be bringing home ghosts and
shit. In the car.
Crystal's not even in the car. Crystal's down the block.
Crystal's not even.
All right, we'll holler at y'all when y'all get done.
I'll be over at Delvin's house while y'all are ghost hunting. We fucking played on the PS4. Y'all do what y'all gotta do. The black people aren't coming.
No, not at all. That is a fact.
But that's awesome. That is an awesome reason. I gotta listen to your podcast more. I do. I gotta listen to your podcast. Nick says word. How you doing, Ray? Welcome on in. So, Delvin, let me swing that question back around to you. Why did you decide to start podcasting? Because I don't think you started out to be the busiest man in podcasting, and now you are. So you've got this podcast. You're talking about diversity. What made you decide that, you know what? I'm a podcast.
I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I think I was in a time in my life where I was really depressed. But I love podcasting, and I kept hearing Kevin Smith saying that, yeah, if you want to do a podcast, you just jump in and do it. Anybody can do it. You just go out there and do it. It's something that's achievable. And I kept hearing, almost every podcast Kevin Smith did, he always was constantly saying that thing. And it almost felt like he was talking to me. Literally, because Kevin Smith is kind of one of those guys who's boisterous, and he tells these stories, and he kind of brings them into you. It makes you feel like you're a part of it. And I kept hearing him say it so much. I was like, you know what, Kevin? I'm going to start a podcast.
I like that. That's an awesome read. You ever meet that man one day, shake his hand, and say thank you. Do it.
Give him a hug.
Yeah, give him a hug.
A big hug if I ever meet him.
Absolutely.
I love Kevin Smith.
And he's gonna be like, all right.
Right. Like, give us some space. Lindsay.
Oh, man. But
no, you still go. Oh, you still going? There's more. Keep going.
I got more.
Oh, you got more. Go ahead. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
So I started my first podcast. My best friend, his name is Al. They call him Vision because he's also a rapper, and he's kind of a little out there, at least. Al's very eccentric. So we started a podcast. It was called the Mic Drop Podcast. And our first episode did like 5,000 listens. And I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. We're going to blow up. This is amazing. Like, I can't believe this. We did 5,000 our first episode. It's no telling what we're going to do the next. The next episode did 6.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah,
I'd be
so
big
it was
mad.
like, oh no. It's not gonna be that easy. And we kept at it, and it was a learning experience because I was learning the breaks of how to podcast, learning how to mix down stuff, because as all first time podcasters know, your first mix is horrible. Your first episode, 9 times out of 10, is trash because you're still learning the systems and how to do things. And I kept learning how to do all those things. And as I was learning how to do those things, I saw my friend Al just go through a whole gamut of things through this life. Like everything you could possibly think would happen to a person, because this is how Al is. Al is like almost like a Charlie Brown character in terms of how he'll just have this rain cloud over his head and like 100 things, bad things happen to him all at one time. And it got to the point where he couldn't do the podcast no more because he was so just distraught with all the problems he was having.
Oh, wow.
But I still wanted to record podcasts. But I didn't have nobody to do a podcast with. So I had to kind of take a long look at myself and figure out what I wanted to do. And that's kind of how I came with the Delvin Cox experience. I'm like, let me just try to interview people and see where I go from there with it. So I just happened to reach out to somebody I know, which is funny now because it's all full circle because now I'm on their podcast network, which makes it even more funnier. I reached out to a guy named Donnie. And he has a podcast network called PSVG, where it's called Play Some Video Games. And they do at that time they were doing video game reviews and stuff like that. And it was around the time of E3. And I was like, hey man, would you guys be my first guest on my podcast? And we could talk about E3 and stuff like that. And they had a way bigger community than I had at the time. I don't think anybody even knew who the hell I was. but
that's how you start.
But he was like, yeah, me and my friend Nathan would be glad to come on your podcast and talk about E3 and stuff like that. And that was the first episode of Delvin Cox Experience. And from there, I just tried to get any guest I can get on at the time. And fortunately, I was lucky enough to get a guest on almost every week. And now I can't not get a guest on, which is a blessing.
Yeah, that is definitely a blessing. Mic drop. I like the name of that for a podcast. Could we steal that for our podcast? I think we should. When we all get on up, we should just take it. Just take it. It's fine.
I own the names. That's fine.
I
legit own the name of the podcast. So
that's even better. Oh no,
that's easy.
That's easy.
I still own the name. I still own the Twitter feed for it. So yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Holy 5,000 to 5. I've never, I don't even think I've ever gotten 5,000 listeners. But if I got 5,000 listeners one episode and then I didn't the next, I'd be big mad. I would be a salty motherfucker. I'd be like that dude that you showed earlier with the bat that's just hitting that I'd be mad.
Well, I can explain why it happened too.
Okay, you know why? Go.
The first episode was why. The name of it was Why God is Hated On in This Generation.
Oh, that's a good episode name. Okay.
Yeah, so, and it was because my friend Al, his father's a pastor. So we had a real conversation about God and religion and stuff like that. So I guess what happened was people saw that and was gravitated toward that conversation.
Yeah.
And then the next episode wasn't that conversation.
So people were just like, we're not talking about God no more, I'm out.
Yeah, essentially, yes. I think they thought it was a Christian podcast and enjoyed the first episode. Didn't realize this second episode isn't about God. All right,
There's a lesson somewhere in there about titling your podcast episodes and choosing your audience. And there's lessons in there, future podcasters. Take those lessons. Speaking of, that's what I wanted to ask Lindsay. Lindsay, as an actress and as a podcast co-host, what is the most difficult thing about your job?
Time management.
Girl. I'm bowing to you, right? I'm like, yes, holy crap.
Trying to find time to record the episode, and then to find time to edit the episode, go through almost every night to make sure that, okay, is the editing good? You know, because Amanda and I, this last episode that we just did, Amanda and I actually did the editing ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, we're learning to do the audio editing ourselves, and I'm sure Brian was very pleased because he didn't have to hear us in his ears like 470,000 times. But as I'm listening, I'm like, God, I can make this a drinking game because I say a lot.
Don't you hate listening to yourself on the playback? You're, oh my God, why? Why did I do this?
Why do I say so many times? Like, if I took a shot every time I said my ass would be on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like, legit. And so, you know, I time management, because I'm always trying to do some kind of film. Like, I'm involved in another film festival project called Project 21. Mm-hmm. Felicia Day is actually the host this year.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, she picked The Secret Element, so we're going to be filming that coming up. So it's just finding the time, trying to, you know, have a normal life.
LOL.
You know, doing the acting thing, doing the podcasting thing, and also trying to find time to still promote myself out there on, you know, Twitter and Instagram. It can get tiring.
Yeah. And you work a full-time job too, am I not?
I do. I work a 9 to 5 as well. So hopefully nobody that I work with is listening, because sometimes I write scripts while I'm at work.
We don't. I'll edit that part out. No, she doesn't. She lying. She tripping. Don't worry about it. Delvin, what is the hardest thing about podcasting for you?
That's a good question.
That's how I roll.
Time management would be one of the answers I would have, but Lindsay already covered that one too well, so I don't want to give that one. I want to say just finding guests and people to talk to and interview, because it's either two things. It's either, damn, I can't find a guest, or damn, I have too many ideas and too many people I want to interview and it's not enough time. Mm-hmm. And I know that kind of sounds like a good problem to have, but at the same time, it's almost like, hey, I want to interview this person, but I got to interview this person. I got to interview this person.
Right.
So we'll get to you when we can, and then you forget that you have to get to this person when you can. So it's almost like a kind of a balancing act where you have to balance yourself out and just figure out how you want to do certain things and what topics you want to discuss and what people you want to have on the podcast. And it's very interesting. It's very fun because it's almost like your own TV producer or director or coordinator, TV coordinator, because you got to set up how each episode comes out. Like, for example, okay, I got this Linzi Gray episode coming out right now. I think people are going to like this one. What if I followed up with the Rodney Barnes episode, then follow up with this episode, and give it kind of a little theme to it? And you know, it's cool doing that type of stuff, because a lot of spoilers, I record a lot of my episodes in advance, so I never miss a week.
That's smart.
Yes. And it's a lifesaver, because when you're recording podcasts, you never know when people are not free. They'll say, oh, I can do it this day. Oh, I got to change my schedule, man. I can't do it this day. Can we do it next week? So you kind of have to be ready for when situations like that happen. Okay, it's no problem. I have this episode in the can. I can just put this episode out, so I still don't miss a week.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I like this. This is good advice from the both of you. By the way, from chat to you, Lindsay. Hang on, I gotta find it. What you scribble in the notebook while you gather your thoughts from a business email or your business. There you go. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. So let me ask both of you guys here, and either one of you can jump in on this. What is a podcast and or an actor that you admire, that you really want to emulate, that you are like, you know what? When I grow up, that's what I want to be. I want to be better than that. What is
Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, snap. Jennifer. She said that so fast, too. She's like, Jennifer Aniston. I'm done. That's it. All right. That's an actress. What about on podcast level? Is there one?
Probably you and Delvin, honestly.
Holy crap.
Honestly, because y'all are like, well, Delvin's got too many damn guests that want to be on his show. So, hashtag first world problems.
I can't be consistent to save my life. Do not be like me. Nah.
I was going to say you because, well, you're awesome. But, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, all right. So, stop. You're going to make me blush. Why Jennifer Aniston?
Because where she started, and she started on TV, and TV in front of, doing TV in front of a live audience is very difficult because, you don't get the cut, reset kind of thing. You have to be on your P's and Q's at all times. Plus, I think she's really intelligent when it comes to like comedy. She knows, her cues. She knows how to, when to drop, and what facial expressions to use when she's dropping, her joke, like the whole joke of Ross and Rachel, we were on a break kind of thing. I mean, everybody knows, that joke. And if you don't, I'm very, very, very sorry for you. But, she did a great job in Horrible Bosses. I mean, she was hilarious in Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, she was. That was some funny shit.
Nobody had seen. Like, and it's like, damn, girl. And then, a lot of people don't realize that she was in one of the Leprechaun movies. So she's done horror, too. She's a very diverse actress. And I love that about her. And I hope that one day I am at her caliber, actress-wise. I hope that I can be like her. Another person I really admire is Jackie Dallas, who's on Stranger Things. I really admire her. We follow each other on Twitter. But I think, she's amazing as well as an actress. I think she's,
I dig that.
But I admire all actors and actresses because not any two actors or actresses are going to be the same. Everybody's different. And so I don't understand why it's such a competitive, field, because if the director's going to hire you, he's going to hire you based on a look that he is looking for. And not everybody looks alike,
Right.
He might want somebody with green eyes instead of hazel eyes. Well, I'm out because I have hazel eyes, so he would pick somebody with green eyes, obviously. Right. So I don't really understand the whole competitive nature of this business, because it's like we're all trying to get to a common goal. Each of us has learned something different. We should really come together and kind of, share, the trade secrets, so to say.
Right.
Jennifer Aniston, because I think she's a very well diverse actress. I think, like I said, her comedy is great. And I think she looks like an all around cool person to hang out with. Like, she would be very down to earth to hang out with. She doesn't seem like the big Hollywood type. Hoity toity, And then Jackie Dallas, because, I really admire her being on a Netflix original. I dream about being on a Netflix original someday.
I know Netflix originals for the win. Delvin, you had plenty of time to think.
Because I want to be Poison Ivy.
Lindsay for Poison Ivy, make it happen. Lindsay for Poison Ivy, make it happen, Captain. Delvin, you're not getting out of this. You've had plenty of time to think about it. All right, go.
Okay. I'm not gonna pick actor or actresses.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be an actor. Let's face it. But I have a few people. One of the people I want to name is Kevin Smith, of course, because I like the way he interviews people. I like the way he talks to people, where he doesn't make it feel like an interview. A lot like me. I get a lot of that from him in terms of he's talking to you, and he's talking to you as himself, and he tells stories as himself, and he kind of gives his heart into it in a way that makes you just realize that he's lovable as heck. When you listen to him talk, it's kind of like, it reminds me of how Stan Lee was. in terms of how Stan Lee just paints this picture for you, and it makes you feel like you're there. And it's super cool. So Kevin Smith is one of them.
All right.
Charlamagne the God, surprisingly not for those who don't know.
I'm sorry, say again?
Charlamagne the God.
Okay.
From The Breakfast Club. And he's also from, he has his own podcast called The Brilliant Idiots. I like him because
that's awesome title.
Yeah, it is a great title. I like Charlamagne the God because he's blunt, he's honest, but he's fair. Mm-hmm. And also, he's one of those type of people that you've seen his growth. If you watch him from the beginning of his career, in terms of like, I think he came from the Wendy Williams show.
Wendy Williams.
Yeah, like way back in the day, he was like one of the people on her show. He was kind of a jerk to people. He kind of was a smart ass. Mm-hmm. And he kind of said kind of wild things to people that was very offensive to men, women, and whatnot. And I think as he grown and got more seasoned in terms of finding out who he is, he now is like one of the big advocates for mental health and things like that. And his interviews are excellent. He has a great way of interviewing people and talking to people and kind of getting into that other side that people don't talk about a lot. He's written 2 books. Both of the books are excellent. And I think that's kind of one of the things I kind of want to get into eventually when I get into my podcast game and this thing becomes a million listen to podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, good answers. Those are acceptable. Those are acceptable answers. Okay. All right. Next up, I need y'all to give some real talk advice to people who want to jump in this game of content creation and or actresses. And I don't want to hear the same old shit that everybody always be talking about. You guys are in the trenches. Y'all are doing this every day. If you could maybe talk to the you before you even got started, or a brand newbie who's like, I'm going to be a podcast, I'm going to be an actor. What is some real advice that you would love to give them?
I'll let you go first, Lindsay. I got it. I got an answer though. I definitely have an answer.
Don't give up.
Okay.
Because there's been several times through my acting career that, I've taken time off, I've given up, only to come back to it because I always felt like it was drawing me back in. And I would be so much further today if I had just stuck with it. So don't give up. No matter how tough it seems, and it's going to be tough. There is a reason why they say starve an artist. It is very tough, especially with a 9-to-5 job, but don't give up. Do whatever you have to do to get to your casting calls. Do whatever you have to do to, get into film festivals. Join a group. Find stuff on Facebook. There's tons of pages out there to help people. Where they are, little groups are looking for extra bodies for a film festival. And it's a great way to get free, work. It's a great way to get your feet wet. It's a great way to get, footage for your reel. So don't give up. Under any circumstances, do not give up.
I liked your face when you were saying that too, Lindsay, especially when you're talking about the grind and how fucking exhausting it is. That was real talk right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Delvin, go.
Okay. I got 2 things.
Uh-oh.
One is simple, but everybody makes a mistake. Once you start, don't stop. Constantly put out your content. Get a set day that you want your podcast to come out, and you keep that day. And you keep pushing your content out. That's one of the biggest mistakes that podcasters always make. They sit there, they record, okay, I'm going to record this week, I'm going to record this week, I'm going to record this week. Then they stop, and then the people that were listening to their podcast stop listening because, okay, this guy hasn't recorded in 3 or 4 weeks. And I think that makes it a lot more harder for you to build an audience when you're not consistent.
I feel personally attacked by Delvin's advice right now. I want everybody to know that.
You want me beat him up for
No,
you.
it's fine. That's on me. No, that's on me. Not only did I stop, I can't keep a schedule to save my life. I feel personally attacked by Delvin's advice right now, but that's on me. That's on me. Go ahead.
I was scared to get a second one now. But, okay, the second one is a lot better. I'll tell you that.
All right.
The second one is simply this. Don't be afraid to ask for help. A lot of people in this podcast game think they have to do everything on their own. But there are a lot of great content creators and podcasters out there who are nice enough to tell you, hey, your sound quality is crap. Let me help you with that. Or, hey, do it this way. It'll make it easier for you. Or, hey, try this little thing to make your podcast better. Don't be afraid to ask for help and to find out and learn from other podcasters, because that's how you become better. And you can take the tips and tricks that you learn from them and make your podcast better.
I like that.
That goes with acting too. Like, don't be afraid to reach out to, and I know it's hard to reach out to, like, well-known celebrities, the especially the people that have the little blue check beside their names.
Do it anyway. I know you need the check. You definitely need the check. Y'all both need the check.
I'm trying to get verified, but Twitter is like, cut it off, and it's like, what the hell?
Whatever. I know, right? Lame asses.
I know. But yeah, the same goes with acting. I can't tell you how many times I'm on set and I hear like these newbies talking, and the information that they're giving is completely wrong. Like, how to get into SAG, how to become SAG eligible, stuff like that. I mean, it's like there's so much misinformation out there, and if somebody's been in this game longer than you have, learning from their experience will always help you move forward. Mm-hmm. Not asking for help will always keep you in the same spot you're in. And so, like, I'm very grateful that, I've been able to network with, people that have been in this game longer than I have. And I'm able to ask them questions and stuff like that. I'm very grateful for that. So, I have a great support system. And it's been a blessing. It really has. And having a support system is another recommendation I have.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have it. Yeah. That's important.
You need to have people are around you that believe in you. You want people that, you need to inhale the positive and exhale the bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, if someone is causing drama in your life.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. Because you need to keep those people in your life that believe in you, not the people that are telling you that you have to act this way, or you have to, do things this way. And I guess that's what I try to separate myself with, is that I'm going to do things my way.
Go, girl. Do it.
I mean, I don't want to, I'm not out to offend anybody. I'm not out to harm anybody, hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. And I'm very sensitive when it comes to politics. I hate politics. I avoid the discussion at all costs. And I will be one of those actors or actresses that just, if I'm asked in an interview, well, what's your political views? Moving on.
Good for you. I am happy to discuss issues, but I have found that those conversations are better had in a format like this or one-on-one, because people on the internet 9 times out of 10 are not trying to have a conversation. They're trying to scream to the rooftops about why their point of view is right, and God damn it, you are wrong. And if you don't agree with them, well, you are worse than Satan's asshole. So
exactly.
So it's much better, but no, I understand. And to segue back to what both of y'all agreed with and said, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, especially if you're going to put yourself in this game, because you are putting yourself out there every damn week or however often you put in your podcast. So you might as well ask a friend for advice before you get it from the masses, because you're going to get it from the masses. They're either not going to say shit or you're going to get somebody that says some rude shit. So you might as well just, how do I sound? What can I do better? Just ask. Just do it. Just do it. And don't be afraid to be your own hero. I know a lot of us around here doing this by ourselves. So before you build your tribe, you be your own hero and then go make some friends. You can be our friend. If you're cool, we'll be your friend. It's fine. All right. Anything else to add? Because I'm gonna ask y'all some weird questions now.
Don't be afraid to fail either, because without failure, you never get success. And without failure, you also don't embrace the success when you do get it. It's, people who, are just pretty much handed, acting careers. I guess I have a hard time understanding how they appreciate it more than somebody who has grinded for years and years to get to the top. So I always tell people, don't let, failure, don't let failure get in your way. Embrace the failure just as much as you embrace the success.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Delvin?
I like that.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. That's it. She's done. Good night, everybody. That's it. Shit's over. Get out. Go home. All right. So this is called the WooWoo Hour Vodcast. So I got to ask y'all some WooWoo questions, and this should be kind of up your alley, Lindsay, because you were just talking about ghosts and shit like that. So my first question to both of y'all is: do you believe in UFOs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have either one of you had an experience? Or do you know somebody who's had an experience?
I don't think I know anybody who had an experience with UFOs. I know people who have weird experiences that they can't explain, maybe paranormal and stuff like that, but not with UFOs particularly. Not
UFOs particularly. Okay. And so how closely do you, either one of you, follow UFOology at all? Is it kind of just one of those things where I believe in it, or if I said fire in the sky, you'd know what I was talking about?
I would know what you're talking about because, I'm kind of into that sort of thing. I'm into the conspiracy theories and UFOs. I believe it is physically impossible for us to be the only life forms out there. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't remember who it was, but I feel like, when the aliens pass by Earth, they kind of roll up their windows real quick. That's what I feel. I feel like they're just hurry up, roll up the windows, kids.
It's true. It's true. We are the Alabama of the universe. I'm sorry, everybody who lives in Alabama. Jay, don't listen. Cover your ears. I'm just saying. Here we are. All right. Y'all on the level. We are the West Virginia of the universe, says Bander.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you think about it, I mean, if we were to find life out there and we went to visit, we would do exactly what we've done to our own planet.
I'd be embarrassed.
We would suck the resources dry. Mm-hmm. We would assume that wherever we go, we own it, and we would suck the resources dry. Oh, yeah, it's human nature.
We're like little kids running around with scissors on this planet, for real. For real. Oh my gosh.
Some people don't even need to have the kindergarten scissors with the blunt, doesn't cut anything.
We're running around with the sharp scissors with a blindfold on, talking about, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, that's us. No, we don't. We don't. Not at all. All right. You said that you were into some conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff, Lindsay. What about you, Delvin? What's the craziest conspiracy theory? You you know what? That shit might be true.
See, I don't know how to, I can't even say that no more because it actually turned out to be true. So,
Which one was it?
About the Black Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Because I was when I was younger, I probably was junior high school and stuff. A lot of the old guys in my neighborhood was like, yeah, take heed what I'm saying. These are old black guys. Uh-huh. Yeah, the white man done fucked up the Black Panthers. What are you talking about, old man? That didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, 20 years later, FBI comes out. Yeah, that actually happened. We screwed over the Black Panthers. We did pump drugs through the community. I'm like, holy crap, that's a thing?
Isn't that crazy how that happens? It's always a conspiracy theory until somebody proves it. And then you're like, well, Lindsay, what about you? Craziest conspiracy theory that you're like, you know what? That shit might be true.
All right. I'm going to say it. I know people out there are thinking it. The whole 9/11 conspiracy.
I actually did an interview with the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. You are in good company. Yes, I did. I talked to Richard Gage. Yes, I did.
It just, to me, it's there's too many like variables. So it's like, it could be true. It could not be true. I mean, I think people at the same time, also kind of, they trying to grasp what happened and why it happened. So, but at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of people that, have some good points when it comes to the whole 9/11, conspiracy.
Yep.
That the United States was just looking for a reason to go over there and start a war. I mean, if you've lived in this country long enough, or any other country on this planet, you know that the United States is a little bit of a bully.
Wouldn't have been the first time we did some shit to start. And it's actually, and as horrible as this is, because I know it's very personal for a lot of Americans, but that's not even the worst thing this country has ever done. It's just not. So yeah, no, I feel like, because one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to this gentleman, I talked to him years and years and years ago, was because 9/11 for me was one of those where like, you are not telling us the whole story in on this. And where, however far you want to spring the conspiracy net or however you want to bring it in. But the official story is a whole lot of bullshit. And I feel like if you're going to start a war, maybe we should know what happened.
Exactly. Like, when they said that, there wasn't enough like gasoline in the planes and
a lot went wrong that day. A lot magically went wrong that day.
They said that the towers shouldn't have collapsed. There's no
Building 11.
Yeah, there's no way that the gasoline from the plane or the fuel from the plane could have burned as hot as it needed to be to melt the bars in the building. It's just it's hard. It's
the aliens
really
did it,
hard, in my opinion, to really, kind of look away from the facts. I mean, you have experts that are telling, there wasn't enough gasoline, that fuel doesn't burn hot enough. It's like, okay, well, they've made that their lives, so
maybe you should know
what they're talking about. I mean, maybe we should.
It's going to be what?
The United States has done some fucked up shit in its past.
That's not political, Brian. That's just real talk. That's just real talk right there. That's not even political. We're not political up in here. We just talking in general. We talking US of A generalizations.
Exactly. We do learn from our past, and those who do not learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. United States does not learn from its past. It's like, okay, well, we stuck our finger in the light socket once and we got shocked. Let's do it again and see what happens. I'm gonna be on some watch list after this.
I'm on them. I know I'm on a watch list. It's fantastic. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. It's fine. Hello to our friends at the NSA. Or that other secret government organization that we don't even know about. Hello.
I just need to call out. Brian just texted me. Real quick, and he's like, he tried to call me out saying, "Oh, I hate politics, so let's talk politics." Ha ha ha! And I was like, "We're not discussing politics. We're discussing conspiracy theories." So I just, right. I just wanted to call him out. That's all.
Crystal, you need to have on my friend. His name's Kelly Sparks. He's one of the hosts of the Bearded Idiots podcast. Conspiracy theories is his whole thing.
Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna get him. Put him in our DM, on our Twitter DM, Delvin, so I remember his name, and I'll definitely reach out to him. All right, so we talked about some UFOs. We talked about some conspiracy theories. Let's get into the paranormal stuff. I might have to leave the room while y'all talk about it because that shit scares the shit out of me. Lindsay's rubbing her head. She's like, yeah, let's do it. So
excellent.
Y'all believe in ghosts? Y'all believe in like deep, like what's like, who's had some weird shit happen to them? It's October. We can talk about it.
I've had a lot of weird shit happen to me.
Oh, now I'm gonna get my sage. Where my sage at? All right, go ahead.
I live in Virginia. So, Virginia.
I was born in Alexandria.
Well, it's seen a lot of wars. It's so, wars come dead bodies, come, a lot of, people that pass way before their time. I remember a few years ago, God, I hope there's no cop. Well, it's statute of limitations. They can't arrest me anyways. I broke into, this was right before they shut down the federal parks during like the last, or not the last, but the time before when the government shut down. They shut down the federal parks. Anyways, and I remember being at a place called Cold Harbor Battlefield.
Oh boy.
And I was out there with a group of friends, and we were all in different places. And we all heard the exact same thing. We heard cannons going off. And I'm not talking about shit. We thought somebody was out there shooting at us. No. These, like, when you watch like a documentary on the Revolutionary War or the Civil War, and you see the cannons being fired and that's what you hear, that's what we heard. And let me tell you, we hauled ass back to our car.
I was trying to be out so fast.
Yeah.
And we're all like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And we were all like, yeah. Everybody heard the same thing. Well, it was my bright idea to go across the street to the Cold Harbor Cemetery, which is supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Richmond. And it's also supposed to be a very dangerous cemetery because apparently there's a spirit that lives in there or haunts in there, I guess, well, whatever you want to call it. And I remember feeling like getting close to the building in the middle of the cemetery and feeling like this hand around my neck almost.
Nope.
So fast.
And for a moment, I couldn't talk. I don't know if it was fear. I don't know if it was the fact that I felt like I was being choked. Well, the next day, my mom was coming over for some reason. And she wanted to know, what the hell happened to you? What are you doing on Friday nights? Because I had this handprint around my neck.
Oh my God,
you could see the outline of the fingers and everything.
I'm so freaked out for you right now.
Yeah.
Get the salt.
I got plenty of more stories. That's only one of many.
Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Delvin, go. Because we can't even talk to, we got to make sure that Lindsay's not really possessed right now. A ghost actually touched her. I don't even know if I need to meet her in real life now. I'm all like, I don't know what she be carrying. So, Delvin, go. Scary story.
I don't really have that many scary stories.
You're smart.
I do have this, though. For pretty parts of my life, I've dealt with sleep paralysis.
Ooh, that's terrible.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, you literally wake up in the middle of the night without the ability to move, talk, or do anything. And it is terrifying. And every time I've had these experiences, because I'm from the South, they say it's like a witch is on your back. Oof. That's the expressions. And every time I'd have these experiences, I would see like a spirit above me just staring at me and moving around. And I can't do anything about it.
Oh my God.
This would happen for hours. And it was one of the most terrifying things I've ever experienced in my life. It's not only because the spirit is one thing. The fact that you cannot move or talk or do anything to get help is a terrifying thing. And I think the last time it happened to me, I wasn't afraid anymore. I just closed my eyes and started praying until the spirit disappeared. But it was like I said, it was one of the most terrifying things I've ever experienced in my life. And anybody who goes through that, God bless you. It was a nightmare.
Oh, that's terrible.
I want to add something to that, and I'm going to scare Crystal so bad right now.
Oh my God!
They say if you wake up between the times of 3 and 4 in the morning, it's because there's a spirit in your room watching you.
That's fucked up, Lindsay. That's fucked up. Why would you tell me? You know what? You're not getting on the show no more. That's it.
It's true, but that is a legend that if you wake up between the hours of 3 and 4, because that's when the spirits are at their strongest to roam the earth, that there's probably a spirit
the witching hours,
sitting in your room staring at you, and that's why you wake up.
That's terrible.
Because your subconscious, knows what's going on, and it wakes you up.
If I wake up at 3 a.m. tonight, I'm calling you. I'll be like, listen, there's a fucking spirit in my room. You better wake up right now. This is your fault.
My bad.
That's it. No, that's it. I mean, I'm pretty much a night owl, but Bander's right now. From now on, my bedtime is 4 a.m. All the time. I don't go to sleep until 4 a.m. That's it. That is it. All right. Last question, and then I'm going to open it up to the audience. Guys, if you have anything you want to ask Lindsay or Delvin, now is the time. Do not hold back. You have to be polite. Otherwise, if you're not polite, my mods will ban you. They love banning people. Don't try them. For Lindsay and Delvin, last question. What is the craziest thing that you believe?
That I believe is true.
That you believe, that is your personal belief. What is that thing that you're like, if I told people I believe this, they wouldn't be my friend no more? Do you have that? I mean, you might not have one of those beliefs, but let's go out there. Let's people know.
I'm trying to think.
I know. You take your time. We got
this
time.
This is a hard one.
I know. It's a serious question. Is serious. I like the expressions on both their faces right now.
This is an interesting question, to say the least. What is the craziest thing that I believe? See, that's the thing about me, because everything that I believe, I don't know if it's cockiness, but I'm like, this is like common knowledge. Why don't you agree with me on this?
That's that thing about belief. That's cool. It could be something like that. I was like, why wouldn't you believe this? Because I believe it and I know I'm right. So, like, what's up?
Yeah. It's kind of like that kind of little arrogance with, like, I know I'm right. And I know you're wrong. So, you need to fix this.
Brian, the question is, what's the craziest thing that they believe? Believe in whatever.
Who asked that?
Brian. Of course, Brian. He wanted to know what the question was. He not listening.
Well, if he listened, he would know what the question was. We had the same problem when we're recording our podcast, too.
And I know about another podcast.
What?
I know.
How do you get cussed out on the other podcast?
He likes the abuse.
He's like, it took y'all forever to answer. Lindsay, he says that you believe in Bigfoot.
Oh, shit like that? I believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah, he's right. I do. Okay. I don't know how he knows that, but unless we've had a conversation, I don't remember, but I do. I do believe in Bigfoot. I believe, there's too many sightings. I mean, you can't tell me that everybody who's had a sighting is like drunk or crazy.
Right.
But I don't think that's crazy though.
See, it would be. It can't. But look at the company you're keeping, though, Brian. I mean, Delvin. Like, for other people, that might be some. I know some people that are like, no, the fuck, you don't believe in Bigfoot.
that doesn't. To me, that doesn't seem like something that's a crazy thing to believe. It's not a far fetch. I can understand you're probably like, do you believe in Thanos coming to Earth? I'm like, okay, I don't believe in that necessarily. That's how
whoa. No, I'm just kidding.
But Bigfoot is actually something I can probably see it can be explained.
Right. But you've just got that kind of mind, Delvin. Yeah. So it could be to like the normal everyday Joe. What would be like the craziest thing that you believe in?
That common sense isn't all that common.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
That would be what I would believe in, and I've said that to a lot of people, and they're just like,
I feel like that should be like common sense to me feels like it's like relative almost. It's like it's not all that common stuff.
I got something.
Okay.
I believe that creatures in the sea may be far more terrifying than what's in space.
Ooh, that's
because there's a lot of things in the sea that we still don't know what the fuck's down there.
Yeah,
and we haven't even tried to look for it. And I've always wondered, why don't we try to look for it?
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen some of those fish that they've taken pictures of in like the dark depths of the ocean?
That shit is terrifying.
Those things are terrifying. They look like my sister-in-law. I mean, they're like, ugh.
Goblin sharks. Yes, Bander. Goblin sharks. Yes. There are newly discovered fish in the grouper family that people were just eating that had never been discovered before. That's true. There's
this new bacteria. I think it's a bacteria that they said has no brain, but it has the ability to learn. And I'm like, what in the hell?
Oh,
like shit. You have no brain, but you can learn. Like,
I have questions.
I have lots of questions.
I have many.
I'm not sure
how are humans at the top of the food chain? Seriously, how have we lived this long? See, and that's the crazy thing that I believe. I'm pretty sure that aliens really run this planet because I really feel like we'd be dead if not. I swear to God, there's something more intelligent than us in charge of this motherfucker. Because I swear to God, it's not us. I think we'd be dead. We'd be dead.
Well, look at the Egyptian hieroglyphics. I mean, even they, show
I love Lindsay.
these saucers that have come down, and it's just like, I got something that I believe in. And I don't know if you two have ever have seen the show. I hope you have, because y'all are both nerds. But Stargate, I believe the Stargate, and being able to go through a Stargate to different worlds. I believe that could be true.
Okay.
Fight me.
I just said fight me.
I think that makes logical sense.
If you are listening to this or watching this after this show, you may comment in the Twitter feed, the YouTubes or whatever, hashtag fight Lindsay. I wouldn't fight Lindsay. I don't think y'all should, but she said fight me. She believes in Stargates. I'm with you, Lindsay. I believe in Stargates too, but I believe in a lot of weird shit.
I don't think it's too far-fetched. I mean,
I don't either.
Now, I will agree that every planet they went to, the inhabitants spoke English. Like, come on.
Nobody speaks English. Okay, so my girlfriend is a linguist, and this shit makes her real salty, fam. Like, real salty. She, yelled at me, literally 2 days ago that English is not a real language. So, no, nobody who doesn't live in America or Earth speaks English. No one. It's not, no. No, when you go to Venus, they're not speaking English. Right? Nobody speaks American. Nobody speaks that shit.
It bothered me so much every time, Jack O'Neill and Samantha Carter and Teal'c and Daniel Jackson would go through the Stargate, and they'd see all these people from a different planet. Hi, how are you guys? How do you speak English?
At least Farscape had an answer for that. At least they had an answer. They was translator probes, damn it.
Yeah, but they were talking about how, some of the Goulds, took these people from planet Earth and dropped them off on different planets. Yeah, back in Egyptian time. And the Egyptians didn't speak English back then. So,
yeah, that's true.
Here to go again? Mm-hmm. That's my only beef with that. Other than that, I think honestly it's quite possible that, Stargates could really exist.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. That you guys are so much fun to talk to. You guys are awesome. All right, do we have any questions from the audience? Anybody? Nobody got space cancer. You're right, Banner. Banner's got a lot of questions. Banner's like, I was curious because everywhere they went, they had the proper mix of gases to support our life and gravity. Nobody got space cancer. I know. It's real.
It's crazy. It's like, come on. I would agree that there's some planets out there that probably have oxygen to support life.
Right.
But not everyone you go through.
It's true. At some point, they should have walked out of a Stargate and immediately died.
Exactly. And where the hell are they getting the money for these malps that keep going through and they never get them back?
Well, because, Congress be spending $5 million on a toaster, every time the Pentagon loses money, they lost the money. They don't know where all this money is. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember watching the show and going, there goes my tax dollars.
That's it. That's exactly what
I'm getting that back.
No, you are not.
You can't fix roads, but you can send a $5 million amount through the Stargate, not get it back, but you can't fix roads.
That's why everybody's so salty about healthcare and stuff, because they no, because then we wouldn't be able to send our probe to talk to the aliens. Ain't nobody got the money for that. Fuck your healthcare. Ain't nobody got money for that. We trying to talk to aliens. I'd actually be okay with that. I'd be all right with that. That's fine. That's acceptable use of my tax dollars. That's fine.
But just tell me this is why you can't have good healthcare, because we're trying to talk to aliens. Oh, okay, I got you. That's fine.
Yeah.
I would a leg or something so you could talk to aliens.
I'm all right with that. I'm cool with that. I'd love it if one day we just got an honest to God answer. That would boy. What a whistleblower at. Come out, whistleblower. You could come stay in my house. You could come stay in my house. All right. Delvin, tell everybody where the hell they can find you, how they can connect with you. Pimp the hell out of yourself right now. Go.
You can find me anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just turn on the podcast randomly. You'll probably find me on that podcast.
That's true. That's real talk right there.
But if you want to hear my official podcast, it's the Delvin Cox Experience, where anywhere you listen to podcasts at, Apple, Spotify. I think it's on iHeart now, too. Also, listen to the PlayStation Experience podcast, the PlayStation podcast that I'm the co-host on. It's really good. I think we're 3 episodes in so far now. It's been an amazing experience because, for those who don't know, I'm a big gamer.
Well, I like you too, Delvin. I love
video games. And I think it's been fun. Also, follow me on Twitter, Delvin_Cox. I'm a very funny guy on Twitter.
Delvin is fun. Delvin be causing trouble on Twitter. He is causing trouble on Twitter. Of course, my internet connection is. Actually, hang on. Before I get to you to pimp yourself, Lindsay, Delvin claimed that when I get married, he's going to sing at my wedding. So I'm going to need Delvin to audition real quick. Delvin, I'm going to need you to sing.
No, I'm going to sing what was in Coming to America. Sex with chocolate.
Delvin's not coming to Lindsay, you can come to my wedding. Delvin's not coming. That's it. No, Delvin's not coming.
Listen, you don't want Delvin to come, and you don't want Jay to come, because they started that whole feed on Twitter about Dick.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. I was about to say, and Rambling.
Grayson,
oh my God,
get your mind out the gutter. Nightwing.
My mind, Rambling Rob's fault. I'm gonna shout out to Rambling Rob.
Talk about Dick. Why do you guys get so offended by Dick?
Nobody gets offended by Dick except guys who have dicks. The only people offended by Dick are guys with dicks.
It's a legend.
I mean, you saw the whole conversation. I mean, they were like, it was amazing. Little like children. They were giggling and laughing. Oh my God. And Jay's like, dicks get so high.
Jay kept it going too. Jay's like, look at my dick in a box.
I want Jay Sandlin to change his Twitter bio to "Dicks Get So Hard." No,
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along those lines. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, how did I get roped into this? How did I get tagged on this?
I was having a wonderful time off social media with my girlfriend, and I happened to check Twitter one night, and all of a sudden it's dick. And I'm just like, what are we even talking about?
Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were talking about either until I realized that they were talking about Nightwing, and I'm like, oh, okay. I really thought we were talking about Dick, because they kept like making dick jokes.
But I'm like,
we
were this close to somebody sending a dick pic. We were this close to somebody, Dick Grayson pic.
Yeah. Awesome. Don't send your dick pics, please.
Please don't send dick pics.
I don't want to see your raggedy dick. Dick Grayson is fine.
Delvin just assumes you got a raggedy dick, fellas. See, he don't even think you got a pretty dick. I'm going to tell you.
As a heterosexual male, I'm going to tell you have a raggedy dick. Don't send it to me. I don't want to see your dick.
Ladies, if you ever get an unwanted dick pic, please send it to Delvin so he can tell that fella that.
What was his Twitter handle? Delvin_Cox.
That's it. That's it right there.
Me, this person who ever sent a dick pic is going to get embarrassed because I want to tell them straight up, your dick is trash. That's what I'm going to tell them. Stop sending that trash ass dick pic.
I'm gonna send him a pic of. I'm gonna send him a picture of Andy Dick.
Do it. Oh my God.
I used to like news radio, so I like Andy Dick. I love news radio.
Oh my goodness. All right. So now that we've talked about dick pics, Lindsay, please tell everyone where they can find you.
I can't even right now. You can find me on Twitter at Real Linzi Gray. You can find me on Instagram under the same handle, Real Linzi Gray. You can find me on IMDb. It's imdb.me /Linzi Gray. You can find me Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's right, Brian. Eastern. On Blood and Black Lace. No, we have this fight because he always goes, it's 8 p.m. Central, and I'm like, it's Eastern. Eastern comes first.
Nobody gives a fuck about Central Time. Let's be honest. Nobody cares about Central Time. It's Eastern or Western.
Exactly.
And it's 9 times 10, it's Eastern.
Yeah.
Central Time is the little cousin that nobody wants to play with.
And nobody ever talks about Mountain Time either, so I'm sorry if you live in that one. Get it?
Damn sure don't talk about Mountain Time.
No.
It's true.
You're right. It's either Eastern, like when you watch a TV show, they always say
like New York time or California time. That's all the world cares about. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but he always does, 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. Central, and I'm like...
It's so he remembers. That's what it is. He's got to keep telling himself, otherwise he'd show up late.
He'd show up late either way.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Y'all have been fucking phenomenal. Thank you so much for being on this podcast, giving me your time tonight, introducing yourself to the audience, and handing out some really good advice as far as acting and podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not checking out the Linzi Gray and the Delvin Cox, you're fucking up at life. Don't fuck up at life. Do better. Check out both of them. Check out their podcasts, their movies. Connect with them on social media, because everybody's on social media these days. You've got something. You're on it. Don't act like you're not. Connect with them. I will be back with Delvin and another special guest on November 7th, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Convert your own time zones, you lazy shits. And we will be having a very...
Brian.
And we will be having a very serious conversation that I think needs to be had. So I will have my mods on full alert for that one, because I expect that we won't get trolls. We don't get trolls in here. It's fine. But yeah, it's a conversation that I think we need to have. So Delvin and I will be jumping into it with another guest. I just told Delvin to grab somebody and he did. So I don't even know who else we're going to have on, but we're going to have somebody else on the 7th, 7 o'clock. And then we're talking about UFOs. Next week, we're doing a book review. We'll probably do 2 book reviews next Thursday, so get ready for that. My Twitch family, if you're into gaming, stick around. I'm about to play some Outer Worlds. I can't fucking wait. That's it. We out. Break screen.
Peace.
Peace.